Hello friend, welcome to UK Breaking News. If the M25 is any part of your life, if you drive it daily, occasionally, or if you are planning a trip this summer, you need to hear this before you get behind the wheel again. And if you never drive the M25 at all, stay with me anyway, because what is happening on that motorway right now is spreading to every major road in the country. And the rules that are catching drivers off guard today are the same rules that are going to catch drivers off guard on your road this summer. Before we get into it, subscribe to this channel and turn on the bell. Traffic enforcement in 2026 is changing faster than most drivers realize, and the first time many people find out is when a notice arrives in their letterbox. Subscribe now and let us get into it. Let me start by explaining why the M25 matters, even if you never drive it. The M25 is the orbital motorway that encircles Greater London. 117 miles of road carrying an estimated 200,000 vehicles every single day, connecting every major arterial route in and out of the capital, and linking the M1, M3, M4, M11, M23, and dozens of other roads into one vast network. It is one of the busiest motorways in Europe. That combination is exactly why the M25 has become the testing ground for every major new enforcement technology being deployed across the UK in 2026. What gets tested here gets rolled out everywhere else, which means what I am about to tell you applies to virtually every driver in Britain. The first and most immediately significant change is one that most drivers still do not know has happened, and it has been active since early 2026. 14 permanent AI-powered mobile phone detection cameras are now operating across England and Wales, with more sites being added throughout the year. Unlike a police officer who has to observe you and pull you over, these cameras use artificial intelligence mounted on overhead gantries to detect in real time whether a driver is holding or using a mobile phone. They operate without any human review at the point of capture. The camera sees the phone, the camera records your number plate, a notice of intended prosecution is generated automatically and arrives in your letterbox sometimes before you have even gotten home from the journey. Here's what makes these cameras significantly more serious than most drivers assume. The penalty for using a handheld mobile phone while driving in the UK is £200 and 6 penalty points on your license. 6 points from a single incident. For new drivers who pass their test within the last 2 years, 6 points means automatic license revocation, full stop. No court hearing, no appeal process at the fixed penalty stage. Your license is gone, and you must resit both theory and practical tests. For experienced drivers, 6 points puts you halfway to a totting up disqualification, which kicks in at 12 points. And here is the detail that most people do not know at all. These same camera systems simultaneously detect seatbelt non-use. A single pass beneath one of these cameras can generate 2 separate fixed penalty notices, one for the phone, one for the seatbelt, from a single journey. That is £400 in fines and potentially 12 points from one drive through a camera zone. The second change is one that has been creeping up on drivers for years, but has accelerated significantly in 2026, and it eliminates the one strategy most experienced speeders have relied on for decades. Average speed cameras have been expanding rapidly beyond their traditional home in motorway roadworks. They're now appearing on A roads, trunk roads, and at permanent locations where speed has historically been a problem. The way they work is simple and impossible to game. Cameras at the entry and exit points of a designated stretch record the time your number plate passes each camera. The system calculates your average speed across the entire distance. If that average exceeds the posted limit, a notice of intended prosecution is generated automatically. There is no camera in the middle to slow down for. The slowdown, speed up technique that many drivers have used near fixed cameras for years has no effect here because the only cameras that matter are at the beginning and end of the zone, and you often cannot see them when you enter. The expansion of average speed enforcement in 2026 means that maintaining a compliant speed for a moment near a camera is no longer enough. You have to maintain it across the entire stretch. Every mile counts. The third change affects anyone who drives on smart motorways, and with smart motorway sections now operating on the M1, M3, M4, M6, M20, M25, and M62. That is a very large number of drivers. The cameras used on smart motorways with variable speed limit enforcement are called HADX-3, and they acquired the nickname stealth cameras almost immediately after they were introduced for a specific reason. Unlike the bright yellow Gatso cameras that have been visible on UK roadsides for decades, HADX-3 cameras are gray, considerably smaller, and mounted within the structure of overhead gantry signs. At motorway speeds, most drivers cannot spot them even when they know where to look. Here is the enforcement mechanism that catches people out. On a smart motorway, the speed limit displayed on the overhead gantry above you can change within seconds, reduced from 70 miles per hour to 50, or from 60 to 40, by operators at a regional traffic control center responding to congestion, an incident, or weather conditions. The HADX-3 camera automatically enforces whatever limit is displayed on the gantry you are passing at that exact moment, regardless of what the signs ahead of you or behind you are showing. A real example: a driver on the M1 at 4:41 in the morning with virtually no traffic received a notice of intended prosecution for traveling at 58 miles per hour. The gantry he passed was showing 50. The gantries before and after him were showing 60 and the national speed limit. There was no congestion, no roadworks, no incident. The limit was set and the camera enforced it. No warning, no police officer, a notice in the post. The minimum penalty for any speeding offense in the UK is £100 and 3 penalty points. More serious cases involving very high recorded speeds carry fines up to £2,500 on a motorway and may result in a driving ban. The fourth change takes effect on the 1st of July 2026 and applies to every new car sold in the United Kingdom from that date. Intelligent Speed Assistance, known as ISA, becomes a mandatory fitting on all new vehicles submitted for type approval from July 1st. In practice, most major manufacturers already include it on new models, so the impact falls mainly on smaller manufacturers and specialist vehicles that had not yet integrated the system. But for anyone buying a new car from July onwards, ISA will be present as standard, and it is worth understanding how it works before your first drive. ISA uses GPS and camera-based sign recognition to detect the current speed limit on the road you are driving. When you exceed that limit, the system provides a visual or audible prompt, and in some implementations, applies gentle resistance through the accelerator pedal. Crucially, ISA can be overridden and turned off by the driver. It does not physically prevent you from speeding, but it resets to active at the start of every new journey, meaning if you switch it off, it comes back on the next time you start the car. Understand how your specific vehicle's ISA system operates before you drive. The fifth and final piece of this is not about what happens the moment a camera captures you. It is about what happens months later when your insurance comes up for renewal, because that is where the real financial exposure accumulates. In the UK, penalty points from any motoring conviction follow your driving record for 4 years and are declared to your insurer at every renewal. A single fixed penalty of 3 points for a speeding offense can increase your annual car insurance premium by 5 to 25% depending on your insurer and your existing record. A phone detection camera citation carrying 6 points can increase premiums by 30 to 40%. And unlike the fine itself, which is a one-off payment, the insurance premium increase persists for every renewal during the 4 years the points remain on your license. A driver who receives one average speed camera citation for 3 points, one phone detection citation for 6 points, and one variable speed limit citation for 3 points within the same 12-month period is now sitting on 12 points. The threshold for a totting up disqualification hearing and faces insurance premium increases that could total £600 to £1,200 per year for 4 consecutive years. The total financial exposure from 3 incidents that would previously have resulted in a police warning is now measured in thousands of pounds. So here is the complete picture for every driver on the M25 and on every major road in the country this summer. Phone detection cameras operating at 14 permanent sites across England and Wales are generating automatic notices of intended prosecution for handheld phone use, carrying 200 pounds and 6 penalty points with simultaneous seatbelt detection on the same systems. Average speed cameras are expanding beyond roadworks to permanent locations on A roads and trunk roads, eliminating the slow down speed up technique permanently. HADECS 3 stealth cameras on smart motorways enforce variable speed limits that can change within seconds. The limit on the gantry you pass is the limit that is enforced regardless of what signs around it show. ISA becomes mandatory on all new UK cars from July 1st. Understand how your vehicle system works before you drive, and every set of penalty points you accumulate carries a 4-year insurance tail that multiplies the real cost far beyond the face amount of the fine. The enforcement system on British roads in 2026 does not need to pull you over to issue a fine. It records you, identifies you, and sends a notice to your letterbox, sometimes before you have gotten home from the journey. Subscribe, share this with anyone you know who drives a motorway this summer. I will see you in the next one.